right, good morning, guys. Welcome to the Intro to Drone Operations lecture. I'm really excited about introducing this. I think this is a really fun part of the class. The reason why I think it's fun is because up till now, we've really been talking about the components of Java, the syntax of Java, and in the epistemes, you had the opportunity to work with it a little bit. But in this program, in this set of programming assignments, you're really going to act like you're going to have fun because it's a fun program, but it's also going to be something that's more like real life, where when you start a job, you don't make a program from scratch. You join in with a program that already exists. You need to learn how to work with it, and you need to know how to extend it as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Here's what I'm going to talk about in the lecture. The backstory for the project, how to install the software, how to make sure that it's running okay by running the tests, how the life cycle of a drone works so that you can program it, and then I want to connect that to the code. So we'll do that in this walkthrough today. Okay, so first of all, for the backstory, let's bring this up. Okay, this is called the Drone World assignment, and there are 3 different programs that you're going to turn in as deliverables. It's going to happen over time, so it's not going to be all at once. Here's the story. The year is 2030, and there's been a dramatic shift in the transportation industry from gas-powered vehicles to electric vehicles. Even as recently as just 10 years ago, you would have seen an occasional electric vehicle on the road, but today the roads are full of them. In Santa Barbara County, 90% of the cars are self-driving, and those are mostly operated by Uber. Unfortunately, Uber's surge pricing has gotten a little bit absurd, and it costs hundreds of dollars to get from Westmont to Vons. Many scrappy startups have attempted to compete, but whenever a competitor's vehicle is on the road at the same time as Uber, Uber assigns a robocar to get in front of the competitor's car and drive very, very slowly. Regulators have identified this as grandpa mode, and it has caused Uber's competitors to lose all their riders and go broke. But now, Westmont's physics majors have teamed up with the chemistry department to create flying vehicles. They have extended the battery life and can bypass the pesky Ubers and their malicious behavior. Unfortunately, they don't have a software program to control them. They're looking to you to solve the problem. In this assignment, you're going to create a Java class that controls a drone in a simulated Santa Barbara and compete to provide the best service with other people in the class and with some controllers that I've created as well. All right, so how do we install the software? Well, what we do is we do it from within Eclipse. So the instructions are the instructions are in our introductory document here. If you scroll down, you'll see steps to get the environment set up. And so they're all present here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what that looks like in Eclipse. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting this software from an online service called GitHub. GitHub is a service that exists in the cloud, and it is a place to store software. And in addition to storing software, it provides a number of collaboration and workflow tools for teams of developers that are working on that software. One really important thing that it does is it manages versions. And so we're going to be using versions within this software as well. 3 different versions, 1 for each of the assignments. Now, you might hear the term GitHub and not understand how that differs from Git, G-I-T. Git is software that's open source and free and available to anyone that helps teams of software developers to collaborate together. GitHub is an online service that uses Git in order to provide additional features that Git doesn't naturally do. So here are the instructions. You can open on your own. I'm going to move this over, and we'll take a look at it in Eclipse. All right, so first thing to do is to open Eclipse. I've already got the software installed right here, and so I'm going to just walk through the steps, but not actually install it. So to get the code from Drone World, the first thing that we have to do is we have to make a new project. So we're going to go under File, we're going to go under Import, and the kind of project that we're going to import is going to be under Git. This means we're going to be using a collaborative software repository. Open that up, and you see I have 2 different choices. I am not exactly sure what projects from Git with Smart Import is, so we're going to do projects from Git and go to Next. And now we have to say, where are we going to find this software in the internet? And what we're going to do is we are going to use GitHub, sorry, trying to work my way through the wizard in my instructions. So clone URI, great. So next. Now the location where we're going to get it from is going to be GitHub's URL. So you have to copy this down correctly. It is github.com. It's my account, and it's droneworld.git. The host is going to be github.com. That got filled in automatically for me. The repository path is here. Protocol is HTTPS. This is all fine. And then we'll hit next. All right. Now, branches mean what version of the software do you want to use? And when you use Git, versions of the software don't have to be linear. It's not the case that you have version 1 and version 2 and version 3 necessarily. Instead, you can have a branching tree of different versions that have different features in them. So what we're going to be using is we're going to be using Drone World 1 for students. That's the one that I want you to select for this class. Once you select it, then we can go ahead and deselect. The instructions say deselect all the other ones. You can actually leave the other drone ones up if you want. But for now, we'll do what the instructions say and deselect the other ones. All right, hit next. Now you need to put them in an appropriate directory on your computer. So right here, this is asking you from where on your computer do you want to store this software? The local copy of your software, the copy that you're getting from the internet. So now a reasonable place to put this would be into a directory that you have, that you're using on your computer for assignments for CS30. In my case, I have one place on my computer where I keep all of the projects that I download from Git. And so that's why mine looks different. But you should hit browse, and you should find a place where you know where your software is organized, because you might have to find it on the hard drive later. The initial branch, I want that branch. Initially, we don't have any submodules, so we don't have to worry about cloning it, and the remote name is fine by default. And so the reason why it's not letting me do this is because I already have that software in that location. If I were to give it a different location, it would enable me to do that. Okay, and then if I do next, it'll ask me, it'll look through that. Oops, there it goes. I guess it's happening. I'm downloading the software from the internet. There we go. And what I want to do now is I want to import existing Eclipse projects. You should see that. When we go next, search for nested projects. Some or all projects cannot be imported because they already exist in the workplace. So for me, I can't do it because I've already got a project like this. You're going to have the ability to check that, and then you should be able to hit finish, and you should have the software in your computer. So that is how you install the software. The next thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that the software runs cleanly. Make sure you got a good download. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how to run the tests. We're going to run the tests in Eclipse. Go over to Eclipse. We can open our accordion here, and you'll see that there should be a source file. What you're going to need to do for starters is you're going to need to make sure that you have all the libraries that Drone World needs. To use all the libraries, what you'll need to do is right-click on the project name and go down to Maven and do Update Project. And that's going to download all the JMonkey stuff that you need. Pick Drone World. That should all be fine. Okay, working great. And now we're going to right click on here and we're going to run as a JUnit test. And what you should see is all the tests that I have built into the code are right here. They should all pass. And if they don't pass, you've got some kind of a problem with what's going on. Once you've got all your tests running, then you should be able to run the actual simulator in the default mode. And so if you open this up and you go to Simulator and you find the class Simulator, you can go here and you can do Run as a Java application. You'll get the JMonkey Engine splash screen. You can choose things here if you'd like. And when you hit Continue, you'll see that the default drone is getting loaded in. Now in the background, you can see that there's a bunch of information about it starting up. That's all good. And then when it's all set, you'll get a drone and it'll start running. Now, all of this comes, like the visual environment and the controllers for being able to move around with the mouse and stuff, all come with the software. But what you have to do is you have to write a class that controls where that drone actually goes. And you're not going to be worrying about X and Y's. You're going to be treating it very, very symbolically. You can see down at the bottom, we have a status bar showing how many ninjas, who are the passengers, are waiting. That's the green bar. And you can see that when your drone delivers one, you get a little chunk of green bar there as well. In this case, the drone company is called Generic Company, and it's flying around trying to find passengers and pick them up. When it's red, that means that a passenger is in transit on the drone, and when it's black, it means a passenger has died. And so for this first version, we're not going to have any passengers dying. The score that you see there is the average amount of time in system clock that your passengers have waited in order to get to where they're going. So the goal is to have the fastest amount of time from pickup to delivery for each of your passengers. Well, the number one goal is to deliver the most passengers. But given that you've delivered the most passengers, if two people have the same number of passengers that they delivered, the way we differentiate who wins the competition is by who got them there the fastest. And that's the score that you see present. Okay, so if all is going well, you've got that up and running. And when you want to break that, you can hit X. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to see how do we go about actually programming this drone. And that's the life cycle.